Welcome back to the workbench, robots. Last week I had mentioned that we had two new cards to the lab. This is the second one of the beast of a 24GB 4090. Let's get this box open and check out exactly what's going on here. Ooh, fresh, nice. Little pamphlet of info, I'm sure. Let's get that out of here and out of the way, but I think we'll be a little bit nicer to this one. Put it there. Take out the foam. Let's check out what's inside. Oh yeah, we definitely have brackets. This is a gigantic card, so you'll need those if you're trying to put these into a case. Luckily for us, we're not going to use these. We use open air cases, and the system I'm building for my friend, this will also be in an open case. We definitely need the power. Let's go ahead and get this monstrous card out of here. This is going to be challenging with one hand, so bear with me as we go through this. Look at the size of that thing. Look at it, it's just huge. Okay, let's get these open. Yeah, that's not happening. Let me pull out a knife over here. That's not going to happen. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Get this thing open. Alright, this might be a challenge with one hand. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yep, there we go. Look at this thing. Oof. It is just a monster, guys. Look at the size of this. Alright? So that's a 4070 Ti Super, a 4060. Look at the size of this compared to this 3090 up here. Right? So 3090 versus 4090 in size right there. It's also extremely heavy. Let's go ahead and get this thing into the system and head to the lab. Ooh, all right. So we've got it up to make sure that it's in a 16x slot. Just to make sure, we've also got the 3090 and the 4070 in there, but we're going to focus on this 4090. And welcome back to the lab, folks. Again, we're covering the 4090 Windforce is the exact model that we are talking about today. Look at the pretty LEDs down there. You had to do that. Right, so again, this is an Ada Lovelace architecture. It has a TDP of about 450 watts. Yeah, that's right, 450 watts this GPU could pull. So if you're going to have it, you better make sure that you've got the power to actually let this thing get to work. 24 gigs of RAM, GDDR6X, 384 bits, 16,384 cores. This is the exact model. When it was purchased, it was about $1,700. That's right, pull out your wallet. This one is actually going to hurt really bad. So let's make sure that that $1,700 is actually worth it. We're going to take it through the Mistral 7B leaderboard testing, just like we have the rest of those GPUs in this series. Please feel free to check out those other videos. You'll give you a much better idea of what we're pulling off, especially if you watch the first or second video in this series. We are going to get started out, do our normal Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6, Q8, and FP16 quant testing. Each test we are going to run a static 111 token prompts in this case, over 20 tests on each quant. To get the average of each test, we will compare all of those results at the end and then add them to the leaderboard on the RoboTF website so that we can all see if this 4090 can dethrone that 3090 from the last video. I'm pretty sure it will, but let's see by how much. So just to get started in here, we have the Q3 model. It is fully offloaded, which means that we're offloading tensors and the KV cache to the VRAM. It's taking about just over 5 gigabytes of VRAM right now. You can see that first one came back just smoking at over 100 tokens per second. 118, it looks like. Whew. All right, we're going to kick it into fast forward mode, run through this. I barely need to go into fast forward mode for this card, by the way. So here we are slowing down to see the 20th test and how it feels towards the end. Sorry about the text size. We'll make it bigger for the next run as we keep going here. Finishing off at about 95, 98, 99 tokens per second. That's pretty impressive. Let's go ahead and produce the report. I'll make the text a little bit bigger here, and we'll move right into Q4. Just flying right by. 107 tokens per second on that first one. 108. Oof, yeah. This card is just smoking. And if you're paying attention, during inference down there, it uses pretty much, 270 to 300 watts. All right, let's slow it back down so you guys can see the final test. This is Q4 finishing up. Looking really, really good. About 89 to 90 tokens per second at the end there. So the average will be a bit higher when we go to add it to the leaderboard. That is just smoking fast. What do you guys think? Are these 4090s worth it? Let's go ahead and produce the report, cycle our pod, and switch over to Q5 and get right into it here. Q5 fully loaded up. It's taking about almost 7 gigabytes of VRAM, 6.8 or so. First test back at 99 tokens per second. Second one back, same, 99 tokens per second. This thing is just cruising. Let's go ahead and kick it into fast forward. And we'll come back for the last test here. Still using under 300 watts. And this is Q5 finishing up. $82, $84. Yeah, this thing is just flying. Not bad, not bad at all. Let's go ahead and produce our report. Reset up for Q6. And here we go. Q6 is using a 7.6 gigabytes of VRAM. Yep. Whew. 91 tokens per second to start. Let's cruise right through this and we'll come back here. Let you guys feel. This is Q6 on a 4090. Quite impressive. Here's the last test. Slowed down to real time. Just flying. Ending about 79, 78 evaluation tokens per second. All right, let's go ahead and set up for Q8 here. Q8 loaded up just over 9 gigabytes of VRAM. First test back at about 78 tokens per second. Q8, it's just flying. It really is. This is a super fast card. Super fast. Let's go ahead and kick it into fast forward. We'll come back, let you guys see the very end here. And here's the final 20th test. Whew, okay, 69 tokens per second. Let's go set up for the last test here. So this is FP16. 15.5 gigabytes of VRAM or so. $50 tokens per second. Almost 51 on an FP16. That's impressive. At about 260 to maybe 300 watts at peak there, that's pretty impressive. Verbose as always on FP16. Still 50 tokens per second. Let's cruise right through this. We'll come back here at the end, let you guys feel FP16 after it's settled out. And here's the final test. Still just cruising along, guys. This is the fastest set of tests I've ran for the channel. Finishing off at 47, 46 or so tokens per second. That's blazing fast. Let's go ahead and produce that report. Let me expand this out so that you guys can see this a whole heck of a lot better. We're going to take all the reports from Q3 all the way up to FP16. We're going to put them together just like we always do so that we have every quant on the same chart. Let me go ahead and combine these. All right, let's go pick up the 4090 report. It's here someplace. Whew, I gotta clean this out. Oh boy, okay, there it is. Let's pull this all up. First one is the prompt evaluation time. We are going to have FP16 in brown, Q8 in purple, Q6 in red, Q5 in green, Q4 in orange, and Q3 in blue, and that will be the same through all these charts. Because we leave the very first one on, this shows the loading time of those. This is now the evaluation time. We can see FP16 definitely up at the top as we would expect, but the rest of them are pretty much fairly grouped in there. The total time is going to be basically those two times put together so that we can see the loading time and the evaluation time. Prompt tokens evaluated, it's going to be 111 straight across all of the tests that we ran today. Here's the completion tokens. This mimics the length of the response that the LLM is actually giving you. So you can see even across all the quants, it's actually quite tight as far as length of response, not accuracy. Here's the total tokens, which is those put together. The prompt tokens per second. You can see FP16 down there at the bottom, but the rest are grouped quite together, Now, evaluation tokens per second, what everyone is after. We can see the FP16 finished off at just below 50 tokens per second, followed by the Q8 at just above 70, Q6 at 80, Q5 just up above it. We've got Q4 at about 90 tokens per second. And then if you look at that Q3, we are just hovering right at the 100 tokens per second. That's pretty impressive. 100 tokens per second, even though it's a Q3 model, that's by far the fastest thing I've had in the lab. Let's be clear. So let me take just a second and get all of this data uploaded as averages to the leaderboard. You guys can always come see the leaderboard at RoboTF.ai. You can also see the reports that are generated from these videos, just so that you guys can check out those in case you didn't see them very well or want to look at them in more detail. Let's flip over to the Q3 leaderboard. And yes, as we expect, the 4090 has absolutely taken first place, with an average evaluation token per second at 102, while consuming about 294 watts in that run. That's impressive. That's going to be hard to beat for Nvidia here in the future. We've all heard all this stuff about the 5090s. But if you even look down there, the 4070 and the 3090 are right on its heels. So it's still up there. Let's go take a look at Q4. As expected, the 4090 takes the lead with 93 evaluation tokens per second. 3090 just on its heels at 82. Different generations of cards, but that's still a decent increase. Q5, we've got about 83 evaluation tokens per second. The 3090 right behind it at 77 evaluation tokens per second. This gives you guys an idea of just how much more expensive those 4090s are compared to the 3090s and the performance that you can get out of them. So this is Q6 at 81. Also in first place on the Q8 at 71 tokens per second. It's still a decent performance increase over the 3090s and slightly better at power. And the final FP16, 45.5 evaluation tokens per second. The 3090 was in at 40 tokens per second, so that will give you guys a good idea of the differences in between these. If you like this type of content, or at least this series where we're doing the leaderboard series, let me know by hitting like or subscribe down there. And as always, just remember, your AI would really like some pizza. See you guys next time.